Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This is the only podcast that gives you a raw and unfiltered perspective of what it's really like to be a professional cheerleader. Whether you're currently on a pro team, an alumni, or really curious about what it takes to become a pro cheerleader, the Pro Cheerleading Podcast gives you all the inside scoop and hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry and in-depth interviews of current and former cheerleaders. I'm your host, Mhkeeba. Join me every Wednesday as I reveal the truth behind the Poms. Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast, little live cheer chat. This episode has yet to be named because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist and I wait for this clouds parting, angels singing moment where I find the perfect song. But this episode, I'm interviewing Jonni Rogers. I'm sure you guys all know Johnny XO on Instagram, former Raiderette dancer. So cool, so chill. I took her pro action dance class. I think a lot of you were in there on Friday. She did a whole Britney Spears Slave for You routine. And she's just got such a vibe that I'm waiting for this song to drop. And we talked about so many different things. So it's not one theme for the episode. But I'm really excited to share it with you guys. If you have a song that you think is oh yes, you have to name it this, please DM me. I will happily take that into consideration as I name this episode, but it'll come to me, but I will take help. So anyway, let's go into cheer chat, you guys, because there's a lot to discuss. Okay, so let's just start with the Raiderettes in honor of Johnny. They named their finalists last week, and I'm so excited that all my Schoolin life. Girl, Danielle. Okay. Can I just give you a big fat hug? Pause, everybody. Schoolin life, that is actually freaking perfectly on point with what we were talking about, which was just life in general. You're talking about career and moving cross country and just doing a lot of things to establish yourself in this world. So OMG, that is the one. But back to y'all. Congratulations, Danielle, for one. There's so many people I want to congratulate, but I'm just going to give one big fat congratulations to the Raiderettes finalists. I think it's super exciting. And I hope that finals coming up is going to be, manageable for you traveling down to Las Vegas, unless they've changed things, who knows. But as far as I know, I thought you guys were going to be doing something in person. So best of luck to you guys in the finals. And obviously being a part of the first team in Vegas, that's huge and super, super exciting. So I'm proud of you guys. You hang in there and all of you going through this process are doing the damn thing. So congrats. I'm so excited for you guys. Okay. Let's talk about the Redskins because they are having their finals this Friday. They're doing a virtual show and I have no idea what that means. I actually just want to be surprised. I don't even want to ask people, but this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, they are going to hold their show, their virtual show, which is a show. I think there's still a highlight on the story of what that experience was like last year. So it's a show you don't want to miss, but they're doing it on their Facebook page, the Washington Redskins Cheerleaders Facebook page. And I don't know, is it going to be recorded live? Are you guys actually practicing in person? Are you doing Zoom practices? It is such a rigorous 2 weeks, what we found out from Candace when we interviewed her. So I'm dying to see what you guys are doing. It's nice to be able to I just said, I wish we can get a little bit of behind the scenes of the auditions process last week. And to think that we get to see some of the finals makes me extremely excited. So it's coming up. They look like they're working hard. They have some online voting process. If you guys want to go vote for your favorites, do that. I think you can vote once a day or something like that. But so many talented women. They're gorgeous. I'm sure they're going to have a great squad this year. Hopefully we are doing something this year that they can actually perform, but we'll get to that. Okay, next up is the Los Angeles Rams. They opened up their virtual auditions process. The preliminary round is Saturday, June 13th. So registration's open. It closes on June 11th. I think they, send you all the information once you apply. So I don't have the scoop. So if somebody's already applied and there's something unique about the auditions process that you want to share, hit me up, let me know. All right, you guys ready to get to the whole little one of the topics that's whoa. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. I put it in the story, but they decided that they're not going to conduct auditions for the 2020 squad due to health, safety, and logistics concerns during this pandemic. I'm kind of reading the announcement. They are pleased to welcome back eligible cheerleaders from the 2019 team for the 2020 season and will resume auditions in 2021. When I saw that, I was just like, whoa, it's getting real. So I don't know what the Jaguars organization is processing about their ability to reopen their facilities, if they were realizing where the cheerleaders fit in or didn't, or if they just figured it was easier to just not go through an auditions process virtually. But I mean, there's pros and cons, right? Like for people who were preparing to audition for the Jaguars, staying glued to any notifications or announcements of what they were going to do and trying to stay ready for whatever, you probably weren't staying ready for the chance that there would just be no audition whatsoever. Like, I think because so many teams were having their virtual auditions, just announcing even as recently as the Rams did, I could see you not even thinking that there's a chance that they won't do it. It's just a matter of when. And I was a little shocked. Were y'all shocked? I was shocked. For vets, that's cool that they won't have to go through auditions and they already kind of know the drill, and to the extent there's like a lot of things changing and you need people to kind of know where to go, where you can be, like explaining this to people without having like the whole rookie vibe. I mean, I think it's a plus, but at the same time, do they even know what they're signing up for if they actually go back or to the team? I was just sad. Overall, my overall reaction was, this is really, really unfortunate. But at the same time, it just makes me think, what's going on behind closed doors? Like, I'm nosy. I want to know, like, how those kind of conversations go down. And then also just thinking about, like, there are directors leading these programs, and they're kind of probably more or less powerless as to how these decisions come out. And we don't even know to what extent their jobs are even safe. If their whole entire existence is managing auditions process, managing the team, going through all of these steps to bring about this game entertainment, and there's really so much uncertainty around the games, like it just made me think that there's other people involved and impacted other than just the dancers. So I'm sure this must be difficult for them too. They have jobs, families, and managing a social media presence for your team in the interim is probably not necessarily justifying the full role that they usually have. So I feel for everybody involved. I was looking at the comments. There were people who definitely were kind of shaming the organization. Like, that's a shame that you guys, like everybody else is going through the process. Why couldn't you do it? I think it cuts both ways. I mean, if you don't have like a solid plan, I could see, why some teams are, hanging back to make that decision. And we still have a few that we haven't heard anything from yet. That would be the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Chargers, and the 49ers. So I don't know, you guys. What do you think? I was just like wanting to like check in with you guys. Do you think that more teams are going to make the decision that the Roar just made? Because that's deep and probably likely. So we're just seeing how this is all shaking out. And maybe this just with too much uncertainty is too hard to plan around all these dang on contingency plans. So, and everybody else who's in the holding pattern for finals, like, what if you've been waiting around as a finalist and they're just not going to end up having the in-person, or just scrapping the squad and only pick, I don't know. I don't mean to be like, what if this, what if that? But, like, what if though? If there isn't a real way to resume what you started as an auditions process, that's what worries me. Okay, so we got some comments. Someone said, I hope not. And someone commented, I was devastated, but the world we live in is just so uncertain. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Someone's been waiting for the Patriots for 6 weeks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that like? I'm sure there's communication, and I'm hoping, right? It's not like you made the team or you made finals and then there's just nothing. But what if they have nothing to update? But 6 weeks of like basically staying in finalist shape and finalist mode, waiting for a very short announcement of what they expect from you. That's really, really tough. I'm so sorry. It is devastating. I mean, like, let's be real. The auditions process goes all the way back to like, December if you're trying to be good during the holidays, right? But like at least the beginning of the year, that we're talking 6 months. It's like June next week of training, of getting your mind right. And this is so painful for it to drag out any longer than necessary. We all know that. Like, it's hard enough as is, and we need it to be nice, little compact. I'm going to go in hard and do all these things and not have it extend for months on end. So I feel for you guys. I really, really do. That hit like, ugh, right here. I'm curious how the vets feel. and if everybody's coming back. I'm reading another comment. It's uncertain for training camp, but they're waiting for the holds to be lifted more. And that makes sense. You can't try to have people gather in one place for a training camp when there are still local regulations on how many people can gather at one time. And if they're not able to be in the facility, where are they going to do that logistically if gyms still aren't open? So there's so many just logistical pieces to this puzzle, you guys. And I hope that more teams aren't moving this direction. I'm looking forward to seeing either some kind of announcement. I would even want just wait and do like a freaking crazy one weekend or over the course of 1 week, knock it out, pick your squad. Just don't just not do it. I don't know. Anyway, okay. The next little topic, you guys, the NBA. So very similarly, it's like an abrupt stop March 11th. They haven't even finished their current season, but there's been some reports that they, in conjunction with the Players Association, if you guys remember when I first launched the season, talking about kind of they can't just make these decisions in a vacuum. They have to kind of chat with the Players Association and make sure that what their plans are, like testing, safety, all those things are discussed from the players' perspective because they have a union. But anyway, they have been in discussions about starting up their season in late July and kind of having everything take place at Disney's ESPN Wild World of Sports complex. That's such a mouthful. When I was down there for Pro Bowl, it's can you just call it the complex or something? I don't know. Anyway, that big old complex would kind of host all 30 teams in a somewhat controllable environment. So that's what they're entertaining, where they might gather all of them together, play a few games, and then go into this playoff format. But they're wanting to have that be the campus for games, practices, and housing, which means there would be some kind of bubble that they're trying to create so that you can kind of probably trying to control exposure to the virus. But that's a lot logistically. Obviously, there's the testing, how many players, coaches, staff from each team would get to be there. It's a huge behind complex, but logistically that's a lot, which led me to think, right? Where do the dancers, and if we don't fit in, fine, we don't fit in. I'm not trying to act like the world revolves around us, but if you're thinking about having NBA games in that kind of format and obviously having them televised, is there any sense of fan entertainment or game entertainment? If so, will the dancers be a part of that? And that would require, if you can hear, a lot of logistical stuff that I just can't see happening. And I know that the dancers for the NBA probably have processed the end of their season a lot more than everybody in the NFL, who's kind of in flux and trying to build the next team for next year. But it's just sad to see it kind of continue and then you can't be a part of it either, right? But it sounds like that's the direction the NBA is at least going, which, leads to more questions. I'm a lawyer in my mind. I have questions. But, if they're starting late July, and in this format, they're not really talking about obviously the 2020-2021 season, but obviously the auditions process for NBA teams will have to be way delayed. If anybody has thoughts on the NBA and what the real likelihood of how that's going to play out, comment below. But I just think as more updates come out, I'm going to talk about it. It's probably a lot of question, what about this? What about that? But it kind of annoys me that there's just not a more holistic reporting of what this really means. So if anybody feels like they have some inside information about it that they can share or want to share, or just a perspective about to what extent the cheerleaders or dancers are brought into the conversation, I think you guys would feel comforted to know that. It doesn't have to be a definitive, this is what we've decided, because it's a lot of uncertainty, but just having a sense for that we're still part of the picture, at least from a respectfully let you know what's going on kind of an angle. You know what I mean? All right. Okay. You guys, I have been, so let me back up. We're over with the Rona. I'm done talking about the Rona. But the question that I wanted to ask you guys, because when we started the podcast and we took on all of the controversial topics, our weight, what we're paid, the crazy rules we have to follow, we kind of just snuck this topic into the rules episode, but it was one that I just thought, from our perspective, that we probably should talk about, but it would require some participation points. And I just kind of want to get a sense for what you guys think about trying to take it on. So it's the question that probably everybody gets a million times about dating players as a pro cheerleader or pro dancer. And, it's an eye roll for sure. But there's also, I mean, let's be real, it happens. There's people who are famous now for marrying off, with some of these players and whatnot. But I was just thinking we could take on the topic in so many different ways, right? I mean, if you guys want to have like an anonymous episode and you write in either situations, questions, opinions, etc., that would just be completely anonymous that I can read and respond to for the show. That's one thing. Just like opinions on it, right? Like, is it necessary? Is it fair? How much interaction you actually have with them? What guys might think of it? Like, I can structure a show around it, but I'm just curious if you guys would be interested or not. So I will wait for comments. Otherwise, you guys can DM me. You know that. I mean, I get so many messages from you guys that are completely kept confidential. That's my steez as a lawyer anyway. Like, it's just, I respect everybody's privacy, and obviously nobody wants their stuff on blast, but it's not like I'm looking for some like tea-ish juicy episode, but it's just like, it's an interesting topic. I think it's interesting. I have thoughts. So let me know. It's interesting because different teams have different policies. Exactly, Neely. There are. Some teams don't have rules around it. Others used to not have rules and then developed rules, maybe because things that have happened. But I just think that, we're all grown-ups. I like the anonymous idea too. If people trust that it would be anonymous, and you can write my friend had said or allegedly or however you want to phrase it. And I think it can be entertainment as well as just like us discussing and debating a topic without it being like salacious and juicy. This is not Real Housewives, but yes, people ask about it all the time. So I think we could take it on. It'll be from our perspective. There will obviously be people who are like, hell no, that never happens. And no, and then clutching my pearls. And then there'll be those that can speak to it maybe a little bit more freely, more openly, whatever. And we're adults. We're all adults. And let's be real. The guys are like, hot as F. They're in shape. They're, it's not so much about the money. And, but it's not like it's this far-fetched thing. Okay? It's not. But at the same time, we're doing a job and they're like coworkers. So it's kind of like nobody's really checking for you either. So let me know your thoughts. I think it'll be kind of a fun episode. So I also thought a makeover episode would be fun too. But I know you guys are so shy. Like, I know I'm shy, but sometimes it's, it's a matter of putting yourself out there, and I get it. But things will be so much more fun and entertaining if we are able to kind of just communicate and just, vibe with each other. I know that makeovers don't always go smoothly. Sometimes it's amazing, but sometimes it's not. So just episode ideas. You guys let me know what you think. Okay. The last thing that I want to discuss is just the contest that was launched on Saturday. All Pro 3, they reached out about having a giveaway where they were going to give away like either one or two registration voucher codes to attend their virtual dance convention that they have. It's usually in Atlanta, and it's so, fun and stressful. Like, I've only gone once, and there was a lot. But everybody gathers from all these different teams, and they have really, really quality instructors, directors, choreographers that are teaching. So if you are not tired of dancing your behind off and want to go, it's simple to enter. You guys have been dancing all over the place, so I figured you didn't really need to create a dance video, but just if you're not following the podcast, follow, like the post, comment about why you want to go, and then tag me in a video you dancing. And I'll just kind of like have a way of selecting winners on June 3rd. That's in a week. But the giveaway closes on Saturday at 11:59. But how cool was it to get something for free? I would take it. So if you're interested in entering, go ahead and look at the post. It's on the account, and you can kind of follow the steps to enter. And that's all I kind of have for Cheer Chat. Super excited about the episode. Again, she's very seasoned in the NFL, dancing with the Raiders for 6 years, and hearing about the 5-year break that she took and kind of where her mind was at and just the different things that she experienced while she was off the team, becoming a coach for Berkeley and University of Miami most recently. And just like navigating your life, relocating, packing up all the way from Oakland, moving to Miami, and just life stuff, right? Like adjusting to a new job, something that might not be the greatest fit, just networking, really just trying to find your way. And I think it relates to a lot of people's experience right now as they're trying to make their dreams come true, to be on these teams where they're having to weigh all these decisions. And, it's just like grown folk stuff. So again, School in Life, Danielle, I owe you. I think it's perfect. She shares her experience. She tells us some juicy details about Pro Bowl, just in things that really brought to life for me, like what it's like and how they are just so well connected and bonded after that experience. So I can't wait to share it with you. Any thoughts? Hit me up, send me a DM, keep me posted, stay safe, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for making time. I mean, I was so excited to try to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, so tell me about what you're doing. We have this crazy virtual audition process now,
Right.
which I still can't wrap my mind around. I've been kind of tracking the teams that have announced the virtual auditions process, and it's all these video submissions, and auditions are crazy enough.
It's
crazy enough.
Honestly, audition season is worse than I feel like people's wedding season is. I feel like it's so aggressively like stressful because you want to make sure, you have all your like ducks in a row. You want to make sure that you are in your best shape possible. You have an outfit. You either have like whatever choreography you need to have if that, team requires you to have your own choreography, or like just preparing for whatever it is, knowing like any organization's rules and teams and all the history that you're supposed to know. So it's a lot. And I don't think it gets easier once you've been on a team. So like once you're a vet or going into your second, third, fourth, however many years, it gets worse because you want to make your spot again, and you know what it's like to be a part of that organization or that team and like all your friends. So to think of yourself not being a part of that when you're not ready for it to be over is terrifying.
Terrifying.
It's a lot of pressure. I think when you're going in there and you've never been a part of that team, or obviously you're nervous because you just don't know what to expect in the unknown, but like you really don't have anything to lose. You have nothing to lose. So you just like, you have to give it 100%, and like that's really all you can do. But it's so much worse when you're going. Honestly, my last season auditioning for Raiders was the most terrifying ever. I was just like, oh my God, I don't even know why am I here? Did I make a bad idea? Like, this is bad. I shouldn't be here, right? This is weird.
Well, let's talk about that because so I did a terrible job of starting this episode. One, probably because I was freaking out because we weren't recording. But
oh my gosh.
Everybody, hello. This is the Photo.
Hi. We're live now, baby.
We're live. And I have Jonni Rogers. I'm just so used to seeing Johnny XOXO or whatever it's called.
I know.
On social media.
When people call you by your like handle, like you've made it in life. It's like, oh, Johnny_XO. That's it. I have wanted to change my handle for a while now and just like make it more professional and like make it my full name. And everyone's like, no.
I was about to say, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, I'm stuck with it. I can't change it.
I can't imagine it being Jonni Rogers, but
no,
it feels
like,
awkward even saying your name here.
That's a weirdo.
But you are a legend with the Oakland Raiders. Well, God dang it, here I go. I was all prepped to say Las Vegas Raiders, but I can't. You were part of the legacy of the Oakland Raiderettes.
Right, yeah.
It's going to be the same but different when they move to Vegas, but you cheered for them for 6 seasons total. Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
And the first 5 were consecutive, back-to-back, and then you took a 5-year break.
Right.
And came back. So this is the year that you're talking about you were scared shitless?
Well, yeah. So coming back for that 6th season in 2018, yeah. Yeah. It was terrifying because it was just like, it honestly started as a joke that I was going to come back. Mm-hmm. So I went to Pro Bowl to support my friend Angel, who is the Pro Bowl cheerleader from 2018. So I went to go support her, and like a bunch of our friends went. The night after the game, we all like went back to her hotel, and like, of course, we were like just relaxing, having some wine. And I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if I like came back? Like that would be hilarious, right? And then it was like, haha, whatever. And then literally the next day after the game ended, there was a shift in who was going to be running the team. And it was very unclear of like what the transition was going to be with the new coach and who it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And then we found out who the coach was going to be. And it just kind of seemed like the perfect opportunity for me to like come back or try to come back. So I like got really crazy. I mean, after 5 years not cheering, like your body just changes. And like I was 18 when I first made the team, and I was going to be coming back as 28-year-old. So your body's different. And then in that last 5 years, like you're just not dieting the same. You're not dancing the same. So I really had to like hone in and like change everything. And not that I super dieted, but like I just focused everything on like what I ate and what I put in my body, and like really took it seriously. Yeah. I mean, you feel crazy. It's audition season. You're like, I can only eat this ice cube right now. But then it's like always so worth it. But yeah, it was just crazy because I didn't know, like maybe they thought, not that they thought, but maybe like I felt like I was too old to be there. Everyone's so much younger than you. And I was the baby when I was first there. And now I'm like one of the older girls. And I don't know, maybe my look isn't something that they want, or maybe, you know, all the things that go through your head. You're just like, you don't have to be here. But then you just kind of, I mean, my friends that were still coming back that season, I had danced with Angel McCoy and Shania Randall. They were on the team when I was, and then they also took time off and came back. So I knew people going in, but like that was really it. And I just was like, I don't know. I think my sixth time going in there, when I first was on the team, I had such a different attitude. Like my attitude back then was like not amazing. Like I just felt like, yeah, I know. Hard to believe I'm so kind. I'm just kidding. But no, like when I was first on the team, I felt like, I think I was very like entitled. I thought that like my shit didn't stink. Like I really did think that way. And I was like, not that I was mean, but I just like, I also was in a really unhealthy relationship my first 4 years. So I think that I just like wasn't in the best mindset. Yeah. And I just expected too much. I expected to get on these great appearances and get on the great trips. And like when I didn't get them, I was upset. And like, that's just, if that's what you're looking for to make a team, then you're doing it all wrong. Like obviously you want the great experiences, but like if you're expecting to go to Pro Bowl or go on those overseas trips or whatever it is, and like that shouldn't be why you audition for a team. So when I came back for this season, I just was like, no expectations. Like I'm just going to go in there, have a good attitude. I am single and just like never been happier. So that was just kind of how I went into it. And then it ended up being one of like the best seasons ever for me, not just like individually, but like as a whole. We had a new coach, and we thought it was going to be the last year in Oakland, which is like another reason why I came back. I wanted to be there for like the end of a legacy. And then they decided to stay one more season. I was like, oh no, girl, I cannot. This body.
I was about to say that you didn't have it one more year in you.
Well, I definitely went back and forth with it. And then I got an opportunity to come coach at University of Miami. And I kind of felt like I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, do I want to dance again? Or do I want to be taken seriously as a choreographer? Because ultimately my goal is to choreograph for a team, be set with a team in the NFL or NBA. Like that's my end game, is to be a coach. So I just felt like I had to like take it more seriously, because I had been with UC Berkeley for 3 seasons. And then I was thought that going to Miami would be like a next step for me. And then hopefully from there.
So were you doing UC Berkeley while you were with the Raiders?
My last season with Berkeley, I was doing Raiders and Cal. So the first 2 seasons I wasn't. I was just strictly coaching and choreographing for the competition studio that I did back home and doing routines for them. And then my last season with Cal was my year with Raiders, which was kind of crazy and hectic. I don't know how I did it. I was also working full-time and teaching dance. Like I really didn't have a life, but I worked, Monday through Friday from like 7 a.m. to 5. And then I would get off Mondays, go teach competitive dance from 5 to 9:30. Tuesdays, work, go drive. And I'm from Mhkeeba, so that's an hour and a half. Whoa. I live about an hour east of Oakland. So then, after getting off work, go straight to practice Tuesday and Wednesday nights till 9:30, not getting home till 11. Thursday, going and coaching Cal. Friday, working, but then I would have, a game because college plays on Saturday, and then having my game on Sunday, and then just like doing it all over. So it was kind of crazy. Like I couldn't imagine doing it again. Like it was nuts, but I don't know. It was also like one of the best years that I had. Like, I love coaching. I was also doing something for myself. And like the girls I was coaching at Cal, like got to come see me at a game. And it was like, I don't know, it's really cool. It was really
cool. Ask about your path to coaching, because I think with the podcast too, I'm starting to look at like kind of the next upcoming crop, if you will, of like pro cheerleaders and dancers. Yeah. But you're helping mold them at such an interesting time in life, right? When you're in college, those years are really formative for your next step.
That's like my main goal, is like kind of reason why I stopped dancing for the Raiders at first, was I kind of just wanted to help people like achieve their dream to be professional dancers. And I have been very lucky and, you know, grateful for the talent that's come across my life. And a lot of the girls that I've coached have gone on to, I've cheered with some of the girls that I've coached. Like my last season, I cheered with girls that were from UC Berkeley. I have had girls go on to Gold Rush and Warriors, a lot of girls from Warriors. So I've been lucky enough to have that talent and to be able to help them and know enough people in this industry to help aid them to get those jobs and achieve their dreams. Cause it's like, there's just nothing like it. And I know that they always will be like, thank you, Jonni. Thank you.
It's helpful to get, you know, coaching and prep from somebody who you can kind of trust with that vision and that goal, because they've achieved it themselves, or they're, you know, connected, or, you know, just that you're getting the real experience of it too. Because as we know, there's like, it's hard to balance. It's not the same as being part of a college team. I'm sure there's similarities for sure, but it's a lot to take on. And so being a part of like shaping them for that experience is awesome. It has to be fulfilling.
Yeah. And that was basically all I wanted to do. I was like, I'm good. And then it was like, I was talking to, I don't know if you know Mina and Marina Ortega.
They're like legends to me.
They are. They honestly, like, if it were for them, like, I would not be like the coach, dancer person because of them, and them, you know, thankfully, luckily, God bless, taking me under their wing.
How did you meet them?
I met them from coming to Pro Action with Cal.
Okay.
And Marina actually came and did a couple pieces for us for the 2018 season with Raiders. And she was coming to the Cal game that weekend, and we happened to be doing her choreography from a Pro Action piece. And I was like, that's so crazy you're here. Like, we're going to be doing your dance. So I like it, blah, 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 whole thing. And then her and I just kind of exchanged contact information, and we've just stayed in contact. And like, I text her like in a panic all the time, like, am I doing this the right way? Is this good? Is this bad? Like, do you think this is okay? And Marina and Mina are just like so down for you. And then they actually gave me the opportunity to be a choreographer for their Pro Action Prep, which is the high school. So they have the Pro Action for the pro teams, and they have the Pro Action Prep for all the high school dance teams. And when I tell you, when Marina called me, she was like, hey, would you be interested in, you know, working for us for Pro Action this summer? And I was like, yeah, like, what do you want me to do? You want me to like check people in? Like, I can get water. Like, what do you need? And she was like, can you talk? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, no, we want you to choreograph. And I was like, no. There's clearly no, like, there's no way. And they were like, no, like, we would love to have you. And they just said like the most like nice and encouraging things. I think that like, you know what you love to do and you're passionate about it, but like, until you get that, like, someone believes in you, you're like, oh my God, this is it. Like, they believe, you know? And so we just get in contact, and they've put me in contact with so many NFL directors. It's crazy. So I'm just very grateful to have them in my life. And if you know who Maria Giannini is, she works for E2K.
I've heard of E2K, but I haven't met her. Okay.
Yeah, so she works for E2K, and she does like Pro Bowl, Super Bowl, and all the international trips. So she's like another person that I've had in my corner, and I'm just so thankful for. And they all know each other. So I met Maria in London. Like, she's basically our manager for Pro Bowl. And she actually hired me to work Super Bowl this past, because it was in Miami.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I saw your credentials and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's really about who you know and who you meet, and just like continuing to like build those relationships. Like, the first time that I went to Pro Action, every coach that I met and introduced myself to, I wrote them an email on Monday. I was like, hi, I'm not sure if you remember me, but I'm Jonni, and I thank you for meeting me. And like, nobody wrote me back. They thought I was like a psycho weirdo. Probably went straight to their junk mail. but I just like want to be in that world so bad. I'm so hungry for it. And it's just like, when you're persistent, things happen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So were you at Pro Action this past summer?
I was, yeah. I did the Pro Action prep, and that was in the end of May, I think it was, or June. It was right before I moved to Miami. Mm-hmm. And then we took the girls from University of Miami to Pro Action as well. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So talk us through like your decision. I mean, obviously it's a wonderful opportunity, right, to go to Miami to coach, but was it hard for you? Was that the first time that you were leaving home? Like, was that an easy decision for you, or how did that? No?
It wasn't easy. Honestly, the hardest thing for me to leave was telling the girls at UC Berkeley that I was leaving, because that was my baby. I was okay with telling my family because I knew that they would support me, and like, your family's always there. But it was the hardest to leave UC Berkeley and also leave the dance studio that I've been teaching at and dancing at since I was 10 years old.
Oh, and like, this is what the pictures with all the kids that you have.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was really, really hard. But I feel like ultimately everybody understood that this is something that I want to do with my life and my career. So everyone was very supportive and obviously sad to see me go. But yeah, it wasn't easy. And I drove here from California with my best friend, Alyssa. Yeah. Took us 4 days. Drove in my little Honda. Yeah, it's been a very interesting time. It hasn't been easy. There's been challenges, but there's been so many like positives to it as well. So I'm actually no longer with the University of Miami either. After, the first season, just decided to part ways, and it just wasn't the experience that I thought it was going to be, unfortunately. But the girls are amazing and talented, but I just wasn't in the right spot for me. So
no, I understand that. So many doors open, right? I mean, as soon as you...
Honestly, the second I said yes to Miami, that's when Marina and Mina reached out to me to do that. I got a lot of choreography jobs before I moved. I was helping girls with their solos for auditions, and I did a solo for a girl at Jacksonville, one of the girls for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I did some stuff with the Raiders. So it was like the second I said yes, things started to happen. And I'm just like not like that. I used to worry a lot of like how my actions would reflect on others and how that would happen. And I was like, I just have to do this for myself. Like, I'm single. I don't have any kids. Like, I just needed to do it. And like, what's the worst that can happen? You just come home,
Yeah. How did you like living in Miami?
It's different. I've been very lucky. My roommate, Lee, I met him actually at the auditions for the Hurricanettes. He was one of the judges. And we kind of hit it off. He's a manager at SoulCycle. He was like, are you looking for anything else that you want to do? And I was like, yeah, like maybe something part-time. And he was like, I mean, if you want, I can get you an interview at SoulCycle. And I was like, yeah, like that's great. Like I would love to like have something on the side. Sometimes choreography positions don't pay right away. You gotta hustle. And so a month. So he's like, yeah, like when you move here, like we'll talk more. Like 3 weeks later, he FaceTimes me and he's like, hey, like, I know you're looking for a place on your own, but would you maybe consider wanting to move in with me? Like, I know that's really weird. We just met, but like, I'm looking for a roommate and, I live walking distance from the SoulCycle. You are literally 7 minutes away from the campus at Miami. I don't know, maybe you want to consider it. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm actually going to be in Miami in 2 weeks because I was going to go look for a place. He's like, yeah, so about that, you would need to sign the lease like next week. And I was like, oh, he's like, well, but like I can FaceTime and I can show you the place. And at this point I had moved back in with my parents for the month before I was going to be leaving. Yeah. My apartment where I was living, like our lease was up. So we had to be out of there. So I moved in with my parents, which is a whole nother story. And so he FaceTimes me, I'm with my mom and he's like showing us the apartment, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like just give me like overnight, hang up the phone. My mom's like, Jonni, you need to take that. Like, this is like, I would be more comfortable if I knew you were going to be with somebody. Like, he seems great. I'm like, you just met him.
Right.
And I called him back 20 minutes later. I was like, let's do it.
Wow.
And he was like, oh my God, really? And then, he helped me get a position at SoulCycle, which has become a big part of my life here in Miami, which is crazy because I didn't think that would turn into something. Yeah. And then now he's like my best friend. Like I can't imagine him not in my life. So it's kind of crazy how it works out. So he has been like my rock, walked me off all the ledges that I wanted to jump off of since moving here, because it has not been easy. But yeah, he's been the best. He actually just made me lasagna. So he's also doing all the things in quarantine. I know.
Love it. Tell him hi.
Yes, he's amazing. He's like family. So
I think from just doing the podcast and like following everybody on social media, and obviously you remember from the Simply the Best episode, you being one of our favorites, seriously. But like, you know, you grow to care about people and, you know, follow your lives. And then, I mean, I just remember thinking when you moved to Miami and just, you know, when you're part of such like a sisterhood, well, with your Raiderettes, and I just know how difficult a cross-country move can be. And I was just kind of like, I hope she's happy and doing okay. Because obviously,
you know, it took a while. It took a while because it was very hard. And it wasn't so much that I like missed my family, because I was like, you know, FaceTime, and like my mom had come to visit and I had some friends come and visit. Like that wasn't the problem. It was just, I was not in the right position for me. So that was really hard. And I, you know, it took a toll on like my mental state while I was there. And it just like, I was like, why am I in this position? And you start to think like, what should I have? Why did I come here? Like, I didn't know it was going to be like this. Or, you know, you start to be like, I wish I never came. And then I'm like, the second I would feel like that, I would feel so bad, because I'm like, there's people like Lee who, you know, have been so great to me, and like the people that I've met working at Soul Cycle have been so amazing to me, and like those are the friendships that I can't imagine not having anymore in my life. Like I can't imagine them not being there. But yeah, I was just really unhappy with like my job here, and it took a toll on me. Like I was just like, I had no motivation to really do anything, and it wasn't good for the people that I was trying to help train. So I just had to like step away from it, and like I have never felt better about it. And I just feel like sometimes things are just not the right fit for you.
Yeah, it totally happens. And it's growing professionally. You just kind of, when you recognize the lack of a fit, you know, it's just kind of feeling, not even confident, that's not the right word, but just feeling like it's going to be okay if you decide to part ways, just because it's something that it just happened. And it's
like going back and forth, like, is this the right thing? And like, again, like that's when I lean on like the people that I know in this industry, Marina, Mina, Maria, Michelle Vaughn, like these people that are all kind of in the same world. And that was like, I'm like, am I going to be looked at bad if I step away from this? I don't, you know, is that going to make me look bad as like what I want to do? And everyone that is in this world, like completely 100% supported me. And they were like, this does not define you. This does not define you as a person, how you are as a choreographer. And like, you have so many people backing you up in this world, like people get it.
Yeah.
So that was like very, very comforting, and it made it so much easier, because like you could talk to your mom about it, but your mom's like, I just want you to be happy. And you're like, no. I need to be happy in my career. So do I stick it out and try to make myself, you know, just do it because it looks good on a resume, or do I, you know?
No, that's something a lot of people, I think, struggle with. It's one point or the other, or several points, really, because I think I've definitely had that feeling. Gosh, I started a new job in September. And, you know, when you waver a little bit of like, did I make the right decision? I mean, you know, it's scary, and you're constantly teetering, and you're trying to work through it, and you're trying to think of like, what's a good amount of time to like stick with this and stick it out to see if it gets better. And there's just a lot that you try to like coach yourself through to kind of get through it. But when you reach a point where you just kind of know, and it does come from, like you said, people that support you and that can kind of give you that sanity check, like, no, you're not tripping, you know, like this is, that's what helps get you through to where you can make a decision that's best for you. Cause that's really at the end of the day, like your life. And
it has been the best decision. I haven't looked back on it. Like, of course I miss the girls that I was coaching, cause again, like it had nothing to do with them. They were amazing. It's just like, again, it wasn't the right situation. So they understood. Are
you wanting to stay in Miami? Or are you?
You know, I do like Miami, but I will go to a team that is willing to take me and need somebody. I love like what I do. I'm very passionate about it. And I feel like I want to share that with others. And I just, you know, I'm hopeful that there's a team out there that is eventually going to be hiring. I mean, right now it's kind of crazy. but it's so hard to get into a choreography job or a coaching job in any professional team because there's only so many and people don't want to let it go. So they
holding on tight.
Literally get a job working for a pro team. Someone has to literally quit, get fired, or die. That is no other way to do it. So just kind of putting yourself out there. It's a lot of work, but I'm very hopeful that this is what I want to do. So I'm really
and you're so good at it. Your choreography is so good, so fun. So it's gonna come together.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm please, it's gonna happen when it's supposed to be, and that's why I feel like even though Miami didn't turn out the way I had hoped it was going to be, I think it was still now I would go anywhere with no problem, at ease. Everyone's like, oh my God, do you miss your family? Of course I miss my family, but they're like, so you would move to New York or you would move to, Minnesota. And I'm like, yes. And my family will understand. And it would be so much easier now because I've done it. So.
And sometimes things happen in your life and you don't really understand the purpose of it, the meaning behind it until later. But yeah, this drastic cross-country move probably just positioned you to where it's nothing to just pick up and go to,
literally nothing.
Literally anywhere.
Yeah. It's nice because people want to visit you in Miami. So they're like, oh my God, I'll come to Miami. It's so nice. There's beaches. It's amazing. The weather.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that would be hard to walk away from. But, I'm open for whatever.
Yeah. Well, I know we did a couple episodes about, kind of an international focus on pro cheerleading, but even beyond the U.S., once things kind of calm down, right? Because it's just too crazy right now.
Yeah.
But,
everything's on halt. If you're oh, I saw that so-and-so was hired. It's they're not right now. Everything's on pause.
Yeah. Well, tell me about what you're doing with the virtual audition prep stuff and just kind of how that's going, what your take is on all these virtual auditions. And
honestly, obviously it's a little bit scary. It's crazy, the unknown of will there be a final in-person audition? What's going to happen? What's, going to transpire from having the virtual then being in person? Will we be able to be in person? But I kind of feel it's really amazing if you're brand new into it because you have the option to take classes from any team right now for either mostly everything's free. Yeah. And if you have always wanted to try out for Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders, that is your dream, but you live in Mhkeeba, California, now's the time to do it.
Right?
Because maybe if these weren't virtual, you wouldn't be able to afford to go there for an audition, or you wouldn't be able to pay the registration fee, whatever the case may be. Do it now. I've been telling a lot of people that have been reaching out to me for help with privates and choreography and all that. And I'm just take every class you possibly can, make it work. If you're not doing anything, take the classes. Warriors is doing stuff. Raiders has done stuff. Yeah, the Trailblazers dance team, everybody's doing it. And then you have people who are like me and Michelle Vaughn, and you have all these people who are willing to almost do free stuff. Take advantage of that. So that's really great. And also with these virtual things, some teams are doing you have to have your own choreography, which is where I am trying to step in and help people who maybe aren't comfortable with choreographing their own stuff. I want to help them feel good about what they're doing.
Right.
But then there's other teams that are just doing their own choreography that you have to turn in, that you have you get it on one day, you have to turn it in 3 days later. You would never get to do that. You would never get to do that. Okay. Nothing's on the spot. Could you imagine? I was shoot, I'm about to try out for some teams. Maybe they have one-piece outfits I could wear.
I'm sure to get back out there.
Yeah, get out there. Try out for everything. But that's kind of the really cool thing about it is that you have time to stop recording, do it again, clean it, perfect it. You would never do that in a real audition. Maybe you would get a couple days to learn something, but not this way, not at all. So I think that's a really cool part about it. And it's just one of those things you just got to stay ready. You got to make sure that you're doing everything that you normally would do. And, obviously keep your mind right and positive and talk to people who are going through the same thing. And I think that's kind of why I wanted to help, and I feel like so many others are trying to help. I have so many friends who are like trying to like help people, and I just think it's really, really cool that we can use our platform to do that. Like I've said Michelle like a million times, but Michelle Vaughn is like amazing.
Yeah.
She's doing all these like prep classes. Kenzie, who was my teammate on Raiders, she's doing a bunch of stuff, and not everything is so dance focused because there's still interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, my friend Kenzie is amazing at interview process and all that stuff. And like, she really in her classes is going over all that stuff, like how to feel comfortable, whether it's on a Zoom call, how to look, how to present yourself, and just like the things.
That's so important. People forget about the other aspects of the.
You just like, you know, go dance. And it's like, no, you need to know about the organization that you're auditioning for. And, you know, so people do forget about that. So, you know, if you have an opportunity to take someone's classes or get help, like do it, ask for it, because like that's why we're here. And we don't have all the time in the world to do it right now, so take advantage of that.
Yeah. So, no, that's great.
It's gone good. I've gotten a lot of feedback, and you know, girls from different teams reaching out to me, which was really cool, because I was like, who, like, will people want me to help them? Like, are they like, oh my God, no, I don't need help? But I've had girls from different teams. I thought it would be mostly Raiders, people who would reach out to me, which of course, like, I do have a lot of people like auditioning for Raiders, but like I have someone from Seahawks that's reached out to me, someone for Gold Rush. And I'm just like, okay, like cool. Like, so I don't know. I just feel like take advantage of that stuff because you wouldn't get it before.
No, not at your fingertips in this way, for sure.
No,
I've gone back and forth over like, not even that it's unfair, because fair is just a farce in this space, especially with auditions, but just, you know, I'm just curious if people feel like they're able to present their best self when you're kind of working with, I mean, God forbid if you needed to do something more with your hair, like extensions, for example, or, you know, like things that
that's the hard part, because you can only do so much if everything's closed. You can't have nails on like you normally would, or spray tan, but there's like so many options that you can do. Like there are self tanners that you can get, like, and those are the questions that people need to ask. Like, should I get a self-tanner? Like, where do you think I should, you know, record my video? Like, what can I do with my hair? Like, what do you think is the best thing for me to do? But I do think that these teams are taking into consideration, like, what is, you know, what you have. Like, what you're working with, what you can. Especially, like, some people that I've talked to, they're like, I'm like, what do you want to put in your dance? What is your strong suits? Are you great at double pirouettes? Are you great at jumps? And they're like, well, I'm good at these things, but like my space that I have, like I don't have the room to like do it. Yeah. Or I have to do it on cement. There's just like, there's so many things. I do think that judges are, you know, taking that into consideration. So you just have to like sell it. You really
the hell out of it, right? Because that's what I was worried about. I'm like, you know, it's not.
I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine.
Yeah. If you feel restricted in any way, you're not going to dance full out. You're not going to confidently like nail the hell out.
I couldn't imagine, and this sounds so bad, but like I could imagine going to audition and not being able to have my roots done. Like that just stresses me out. I'm like, no, they're not gonna know that I'm not a naturally platinum blonde. This is terrifying. Yeah. I mean, it's like the little things, you know, but I feel like if you are confident in your dancing, like that's what they want to see. They want to see confidence and personality come through, and you know what team you're auditioning for, and you know the organization. I think those are like the most important things, and just personality goes a long way.
And being able to show that in the video. I was just looking at, I believe it was the Broncos kind of did like a video montage of all the people that made it into their finals, but you know, you're watching the same routine kind of carrying over with all the girls, but I'm just looking for that personality, like that little extra little.
I always say this to anyone that I teach dance to or coach or whatever. I'm like, I literally do not care if you can kick behind your head. If you have no personality, like I will not watch you. I will always watch the person who's like killing it, like personality wise, or like the showmanship is everything for me, because what you cannot teach is style, personality. You can teach someone how to be more flexible, their technique. Those are things we can work on. But what we can't work on is how you present yourself when you're performing. Like it has to come from within, and you have to actually enjoy what you're doing.
That's the only way it's going to, well, I'm going to be sold on it. Which, P.S., that's why I have to get to just the Raiderettes, because I'm such a fan.
Oh my gosh.
Like the personality and style both of the team and like as a whole, because you all look amazing dancing together. It's not like, you know how sometimes you can watch a team and there'll be like a few people that you'll spot in your eye and you'll kind of, that'll catch your eye. But it felt like that for like all 40 or however many of you guys are there. That pizzazz, that style, is that something that really just kind of, that's what I consider like part of the signature style of like you guys or the Redskins. But is that something that you guys really like pulled out from the people that make the team? It's just like that same.
You know, I've had 3 different coaches on Raiders. So starting out, I had Karen Kovac, who was like amazing, you know, and then we transitioned and it was Shauna and Jeanette and Laura, and like they were amazing too. And then, you know, a lot of tradition you learn while you're on the team. And then my first season was Mandy's first season also, and same thing, like amazing. And I really do think that Mandy brought something a little bit more refreshed to our team and kind of gave it, not that it needed a facelift, but just like, you know, a little Botox, some preventative.
Right.
I mean, I loved everything that I learned from my coaches my first 5 seasons. Like I would die for these women. But then when Mandy came in and she just brought something a little bit different, and she did bring in other choreographers. I think sometimes like a lot of teams like to do, say, in-house, which is great. They have their brand, but I think that pro cheer and dance is just evolving and taking advantage of like pro action and like any of these other conventions, or having other really well-known choreographers come in, like just makes a difference. Like it just brings, I don't know, I think it's like, one, you're constantly learning. You're not like just staying, if you've been on team for a long time, you're just staying doing the same style choreography. Like there's not a lot of challenge that you like can face, I guess. You're comfortable. So bringing in that stuff was something that I think that Mandy did such a great job with, but like still staying true to what we wanted, or she wanted for our style. And just like making us feel really, really good was something Mandy like was great at. Like she really like made sure that like we loved our uniforms and like we loved our glam. And, you know, when you feel good, you dance better. So like her standard for us, like I think was like I said, the Botox that really has changed the organization. And she makes us feel really girly, but like in a very powerful way. And the thing that's great that I love about Raiders is that they don't just pick the same age. Like I was 28 years old dancing with an 18-year-old, like, and that's how it's always been. Like even my first, like I was 18, and, you know, girls that I was training with were over 30 with kids. And that's what I love, one, about pro cheer, but you know, that Mandy, like even when she came in, like that was something she still kept, was like all different walks of life of women. And like, I'm not a little girl. Like I have a womanly body. And like, you know, that's just something I always loved at the Raiderettes, you know? Like not everyone is skin and bones. Like that's great if you are. There's something for everyone on the Raiderettes. But that is, I don't know. I think it's just the way we practice. And like our vets are always really strong of like holding over tradition and how we like step clap, and I don't know.
And that little walk that y'all do.
Yeah. We started doing that when Mandy came, and it's like, it's actually like been a hit. Something about it, like you step on the field and you're like, I am that PITCH, like that is me. Mandy is also very young. So I think that kind of brought a different light to everybody too, because I think that she can relate to us. She also, I mean, she cheered also for the Raiders and BCC. So I think that was something different that she brought. Like she could relate to us. And like, I think that she wouldn't had us do a dance that she personally wouldn't do, you know?
No, that helps.
How I feel like I am too. Like when it comes to choreography, I'm like, if I don't feel cute doing this or sexy or whatever, like I don't want to do it. So I think because she's our age, like, and you know, she definitely, well, not our age, because there's a lot of young girls, but like around my age and like, Angel and stuff. So that was like something that I feel like really made us like, I don't know, more like sisters. Like she's our coach. We knew that line, but I also felt like she's like, could be like your good friend. Like if you wanted to like have a conversation with her, like I'm having a really hard time with my boyfriend right now or something, like she would be there, where I feel like our coaches before were more motherly. So you wouldn't always like tell your mom and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Did you
Yeah.
feel that when you were coaching your college teams that you were too close in age to them, or how was that dynamic in working with?
At first when I started coaching college, I was 23, 24. So I think one of the oldest girls on there had to have been like 21, 22. So kind of, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm the type of coach that like, yes, like I am a little bit younger and like I can be that friend to you, but like just knowing the difference of that respect level when it comes down to like working. I think that's like always like been my strong suit. Like I'm not a yeller. I'm not like that. I'm like, you're either going to do it or you're not. Yeah. And you're either going to want to respect it or you're not, because at the end of the day, like I do know what I'm talking about. And I think like if you can back it up, people are more likely to do like
what you say. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they're like, okay, she's not lying. Like she's right. And sometimes you do need to bring reinforcements. You need to bring in like girls who are on professional teams and like give them no like ammo to work with. They'll be like, well, you got to pick up your feet on those step claps. I'm like, oh my God, that's what Jonni says to us all the time. And it's like, see, I told you. You. I'm not crazy.
Not crazy.
So sometimes you have to bring in the reinforcements for that. But it can be an advantage and disadvantage if you're close in age with your teammates. But it just depends. Like, I feel like I will always like feel young inside. Like I'm 30, but I definitely feel not my body when I dance. Like I definitely feel 30 when I dance, like the aches and pains, but I feel like personality wise and like, just like who I am, like my soul is like 24.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
No, I'm trying to think of what I won't even offer that up, but I do have that. I feel like my mind is like kind of not trapped, but I'm like hovering in the 30-ish range for whatever reason.
Like being 30s, like I was like a little bit scared, but now I'm like, well, this year doesn't count. Like I get to be 30 again next year because 2020 has like been ruined. But I do feel like being 30 is like very sophisticated and kind of cool.
You just kind of feel like you're doing big things.
Yeah.
Well, I have to close out with kind of just your Pro Bowl experience. It was just so beautiful to watch from like kind of the beginning, this closely at least, right? Of the beginning of being selected and just kind of, going to Pro Bowl for the first time and watching the bond form real time with you guys. Like, I get that you guys are all still very, very close.
Our group is so close. It's crazy. I think everyone gets really close with their group when you go. It's just like inevitable. But I talk to Candace all day, every day. Like we're either sending memes to each other or we're like texting. Like if I don't text her in 6 hours, she's like, where have you been all day? You haven't texted me at all. Like we're very close. But like our entire group, like we just went to the Pro Bowl this year. And I think out of the 26 girls that went, I think we had 19 that stayed in the house.
Wow.
So, yeah. The reason all of you guys were there was like family stuff or like had a wedding already or whatever the case may be. Like, but we FaceTimed everybody. And like if you weren't there, like Lexi from the Colts, she like made like popsicle sticks with people. Like everybody, we have a Zoom call on Friday.
Oh my God.
That's our second one since being in quarantine. Like we're all very, very close. And I'm so grateful for it. So
I just think it's so cool. I went back to Pro Bowl and then seeing you guys all there. I just think it's great that you all support one another and are so, and supporting the next crop of Pro Bowl cheerleaders. And I just think it's so, so sweet.
It was honestly a life-changing experience. Like, again, like that was another one of those situations where I can't imagine what my life would be without these people in it. And just that experience as a whole, it really changes you. I mean, they say like every time someone goes to Pro Bowl, like someone in the group either like gets married or like leaves a 10-year relationship or moves across the country or like major life changes. And it's so true. It really, really is. Like, I don't know, you walk out of that weekend or that week that you're with these girls and like Maria and Ron and everybody that you work with, and you are different in like the best way. And you just
I read the kind of like the recaps that people would write. And you're all saying the same thing, but it's like you're all struggling to like put it into words. So
hard because like you go and you're like, of course it's going to be fun, like whatever. But you are put into, small quarters with people for a long time. You're forced to hang out. No one really has their phone. And you just start to build these relationships, but you're pushed to the limit. Like you're working, you're up at 4:00 in the morning, putting glam on, and then you're like done with your appearance at 11, and like you're tired when it's over, but like while you're doing it, you're not tired. And then when you reflect, you're like, we were literally working like all day, but like working, quote unquote working. Like we're going to appearances and we're doing performances, and there's a lot of like, it's almost like a week-long therapy session also, because like Ron makes you talk about yourself and, talk about your feelings and talk about why you're here. And, it just pulls out.
I think it is then, because I was kind of like, when you're working, like you said, like that much, I'm like, how much can they actually be having time to bond, right? Because you're in,
the vans, and like you have breakfast every morning, and you have like lunch together, and you have dinner together. Like there's not any like time for you to like be by yourself. You're always like with somebody, and so you're finding out about other people, and it's really crazy because like you go into this, and everyone is like gorgeous, beautiful, and Ron makes you talk about yourself, and he'll be like, so why are you here? And you're like, I don't know, like my team. And he's like, no, why are you here? And like, I don't think there was a day like that we didn't cry. And like, this goes for everybody who's ever been in Pro Bowl, like will agree with this statement. Like if Ron does not make you cry, like there's something wrong with you. Like, if there's just something wrong with you. And it's like, not even a sad cry. Like you find out so much about your teammates at Pro Bowl and like about yourself that maybe like you didn't realize were there. And it's interesting when you get with a group of women and you think, oh my God, we're all so confident. And like, we wear these 2-piece outfits and we must all just like have our shit together. And then it's like, you don't. And someone says something that like sparks inside of you. And then it just builds like these other connections. Like, let's say there's like a girl who's like, I actually like just lost my job before I came here and I didn't think I was going to be able to come here. And you're like, what? Or there's someone who's like, I just have never felt really that pretty. I've never like, I don't know why I'm here because like, I don't feel like I'm pretty. And you're like, what? You are the most gorgeous person I've ever seen. And it's just like, it's such a human experience.
This is the first time that I've heard like how it is in a way that it's kind of like,
it's like, it's really hard to explain, but it's like the first time that like everyone just like the lashes come off, the extensions come off, even though you're in full glam during this time, but it all comes down and you're like, wow, like I thought that I was this way, but like, I don't have it as bad as that girl does, or, I needed that person's story to like help me, or like that person, like I would never have thought that they had that going on. Like I had no idea that Candace was like a software engineer. I was like, what? So like you just find out about these people, and it's a very humbling experience in the best way. And it just like brings it all back. Yes, we have this image that we're supposed to uphold, but like we are just like some regular girls who are like good people. Like that's just where it comes down to. It's like everyone has shit, but it's just a very human experience, and it's pretty amazing.
Wow, that captures it probably better than any recap that I've ever. Just not that it's like I'm nosy, so I'm like, what do they do?
I know,
but it makes sense.
I know people are like, how are you guys friends? Like, how are you guys like that close? And it's
that
like,
close. Exactly.
and like, of course, like being around that many group of women, even on a team, like you're not going to be friends with everybody. You really aren't. Like, it's impossible. Everyone has like their own lives, but honestly, like the group of girls that went for Pro Bowl, like we would literally take a bullet for each other. Like that's just how our group was. And again, I'm sure everyone says that about their group, but like we talk daily. Like our group chat is always out of control. Always.
Love it. Love it. Love it. No, I think it's a beautiful bond. I mean, it's one that, like you said, when you understand the dynamics of being on a team and you know that you're not going to like click with everybody, gel with everybody, and you obviously do make lifelong friendships, but from observing the Pro Bowl sisterhood, you're kind of like, no, they really do kind of seem to have the bond. So like, I've always been intrigued by that. Just how does it form when you're so busy during that week? But it makes sense if you're able to have conversations that strip down a lot of the.
Yeah, that's literally what it's like. They like bring you down. You're not down in a negative way, but they like, I mean, that's how I like talked a lot about like how my experience was my first like season on Raiders. Like I was not that nice of a person. I was not that great of a teammate. I had my friends, but I don't know. I was just like the best version of myself. Mm-hmm. And like when he's asking you that, they're like, really? And you're like, yeah, no, I wasn't very nice. I'm like, I thought that my 5th season that like I had Pro Bowl in the bag. Like I thought I deserved it. It was my 5th season. I was captain. But I honestly like was just kind of a little biatch. Like I wasn't deserving. And it didn't mean the same thing as it was this year. Like I had no expectations. And I'm so thankful that 1, I came back, and 2, that I was selected with the people that I was, because I would probably had a great experience, but it would not have been what it was now. And it would have meant so much different for me. And I don't think that I would have had that attitude adjustment.
Yeah. Everything happens in good time. I mean, I remember loving just your story of having like a 5-year break, and obviously not knowing all the background around it. But, you know, when you have time to grow and mature in yourself, and like you said, just depending on what's going on in your life at any given point, you know, you have to grow through things, you know, and obviously a relationship that's not as healthy will absolutely impact and shape how you treat yourself, how you treat others. Like there's just so much. And then if you're not happy with your job, like all these things are it's just life. You know what I mean? And
the life really gets you. And I don't know, I've on top of relationships, like losing loved ones, like it changes you, and you just kind of figure out how you want to live your life moving forward.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you just appreciate things much differently. And that was how I felt this season. Like I thought it was going to be the last year in Oakland. I was like, I'm going to give my all, and I'm going to do everything I can to have a great season and like make new friends. And I ended up having like 15 girls that I didn't know at the beginning come and support me at Pro Bowl. So it was like,
wow.
I literally like didn't like ask you to be here. Like you guys wanted to be here. Obviously they wanted to come to Miami too and hang out, but like that's
a beautiful thing too. I mean, I noticed that your team obviously travels deep for Pro Bowl, and that says a lot.
I don't think I would have had that same support had I got in it my 5th season. Mm-hmm. I don't think people would have been that like supportive or happy for me.
Yeah. Definitely thought it was deserving, and I'm just so happy to be able to.
I know, I'm so happy you're in my life now. And when I ran into you at the Raider game, that was like so like wild. We're like, oh my God.
That was crazy. So we're getting out of I'm just telling people like they already know the story, but getting out of the Raiders game, which was our first regular season, which I said is like a totally different experience than preseason.
Yeah.
Insane. And so I kind of freak out. Like I'm always the last person to leave in the locker room when I was cheering, just because I don't really love crowds. And if I go to a game, like I like to just wait because I don't want to be in a sea of people.
Yeah.
But of course we're getting out of the game, and
it was hectic.
It was crazy. And we were going to take that ramp to get over to the, you know, that ramp, that little.
For BART. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Sorry. I'm like, this thing.
That thing. I'm like, I know what you're talking about.
We are actually traveling kind of against the grain because everybody was heading the direction toward the BART from like coming from either side of the stadium. And I was trying to like avoid, well, actually we were heading that direction anyway, but I didn't want to go the BART way. So I was just like, can we just try to go, you know, around to the other side? So it was just so crazy to end up running into you with a sea of people like that. And like, and then we kicked everybody off because here we are stopping, freaking out, and people were like trying to get around us. But that was so cool to run into you and to see you again in Florida. But I'm going to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, scared.
You know, we got to drop it like it's hot real quick and ask some questions. So it's kind of like a little lightning round, and I'm just going to ask some little get to know Jonni questions. Okay. Ready?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. All right. You've answered a lot of my questions, P.S. So.
Okay, good. You're like, all you do is talk and talk and talk, and you don't ask any of my questions.
That's what podcasts are for. Okay. Greatest piece of advice you've taken during your dance career?
That would have to be make it count every single time. Don't leave anything out. Make it every single time you go, whether it's a performance, whether it's a practice, like always make it count because you never know who's going to be watching you.
Okay. 80s or 90s dance music?
90s. I love 90s R&B. Like if I don't get married to Can You Stand the Rain, I don't want it. I don't want it. No, I'm like the best little decade of R&B. It really is. Like all of that Boyz II Men, like Aaliyah, like all of that is just, you know, It just hits different. It hits
Yep.
different.
Yep. It's not the same.
No.
Since we're talking auditions a little bit, what's the biggest mistake you see aspiring dancers make?
I think if it's your first year, just to take it too seriously and get yourself worked up. I'm very private when it comes to auditions. I will not post anything about it. I will not, until I know I made the team, that's what I'm posting about it.
Yeah.
Especially because I think a lot of teams do, if you are auditioning, they're checking your social media. So they want to see what you're posting, what you have. So I think just like kind of keeping a low profile and definitely also cleaning your social media, make sure that there's like nothing on there is a mistake that people do. They don't realize that like they will come and check your social media. So just making sure you have all your ducks in a row, or like archive pictures, make yourself private, whatever the case may be. And even if you are private, they'll find a way to like do your stuff. So I think that, and just like, I feel like people don't have fun sometimes. They're just so worried about what's going to happen. So I think, make a friend, talk to someone, go out of your comfort zone, because you're already out of your comfort zone wearing a two-piece outfit and nylons and trying to like be cute. So I think just like trying to like not take it so seriously and like enjoy it, and like whatever happens is supposed to happen.
Yeah. No, you're so right though, because I think the stress that you can sense from people when this is dropping like it's hot, I should shut up. But when you feel that stress from people because when they're dancing,
an audition, or if you're so wound up, like you're gonna go out there and you're not like, I'm gonna kill it. Like, just, you got to get out of your own head sometimes. And like, it's really easier said than done, but I don't know. I just feel like the times that I've been like really confident in like what I have and how hard I've been working, like I just have a better audition. Like if I'm like, and like not taking into consideration that I've been like not sleeping because I've been practicing this routine for however long,
right?
That's when you kind of jack up. So
trust the process and what you put into it, and then just have fun with it, because
immediately.
Yeah, it makes it easier for the judges to enjoy watching you when you are fun to watch. Okay. Let's see. Well, shit, we're in quarantine. So, like, tell me what you're watching on TV. What are you binge watching?
Okay, so we watch Tiger King, obviously. And I'm like 100% sure. Well, first off, Joe Exotic and I have the same birthday. And we also are Cancer moons and Libra risings. So we're the same person, Joe Exotic. And I feel that when October comes and it's, I won't need to pay for a Halloween costume because I'm going to be morphed into Joe Exotic with like my hair and like the craziness. So I already have a Halloween costume. So definitely Tiger King.
Okay.
And my roommate has never seen Gossip Girl. So we've been starting that series, and we watch Love is Blind, of course.
Okay, yeah.
And like old movies. We just watched Dreamgirls last night, and it was like, we're like, this movie is so good. Why haven't we watched it more? Yeah, so we're like watching old DVDs too from like the 2000s.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good idea. Older movies. I'm like over series.
Yeah, we had to like borrow a DVD player because we didn't have one. So we were like, who has a DVD player that we have? Because like he has so many DVDs, and he has like all these like we watched He's Just Not That Into You, great movie, and like we watched The Devil Wears Prada, and like just watched Dreamgirls, like all these like classics. So
okay, good, because we all need new ideas of what to do.
Yeah.
Let's see, what actor would play you in a movie about yourself?
I feel like I always get like the resemblance of Reese Witherspoon, and I do love her.
Yeah,
so I probably would want her to do it because I feel like she's like relatable and cute and cool, and I aspire to be those things. So
I could see that. Who's your favorite Disney princess?
Okay, so I'm actually not a princess girl. I appreciate the princesses and what they bring to the table, but I like the Disney animal movies. Like my favorite Disney movie is 101 Dalmatians. Like, okay. I love that movie. I mean, and I love Cruella. I just think she's so fabulous. Like, she always like has the best outfit. Like, yeah, she's a little crazy, but I kind of have this like idea that she is just a really sad person, and she's not like mean. She just like needs to go to therapy. Just needs like a little bit of love,
Yeah,
she's just fabulous all the time. It reminds me of like Devil Wears Prada, and that's why I like it too.
Yeah, because you can't not love her. I mean, you kind of hate her, but then you love her too. Devil Wears Prada is one of my favorites.
So good. So good.
Favorites. Okay, let's see. Couple more. What's your favorite emoji?
Favorite emoji? The bear emoji, because people always call me bear. I call people bear. Like if I really like you, or like you're my close friend, or like I love you. Like I'm always like, oh, bear, like bear, John Bear, like I don't know. It's just like, so I like to use the bear emoji or the laughing one because I feel like I'm always laughing.
Yeah. Okay. Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
My friends and family would probably say I'm like a 1. But I would give myself
cross country. You made it.
I would say about a 6. Like I can drive really well. It's like the parking that I'm not good at. I'm not great at parking. Like I park so terrible. Like I have gotten so many notes on my window seal that's like, stop parking like an asshole. Like you need to like.
Oh no.
I know.
My daughter, confession, has because apparently I favor one side of the parking spot. Then if that makes me, like I can parallel park my ass off, but when I pull into like just a regular parking spot, apparently I lean way to the right. And so my daughter has created a photo album of all of my shitty ass parking jobs of how much space is left on the other side of the car. She's so
like,
mean.
At me next time. At me. This. Oh my God.
So bad.
I mean, I drove across the country, so I feel like I'm pretty decent. Like I can drive, like no problem. Like I have no problem being the person driving. I don't think like anyone's like, oh, I hate driving with you.
Yeah.
But just the parking. The parking is not good for me.
It's overrated. Okay. So you talked about Halloween. So my last one's going to probably be, what was your last Halloween costume?
My last Halloween costume, my last one that was like, was my favorite. I was Cruella, actually.
Oh, you were.
I haven't done anything in a while for Halloween, just because like I've had a game or I've had something going on, so there hasn't been like a reason or need to. But I do love Halloween. I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. But my like last costume that I like loved, I was Cruella. I got this really cool wig. It was like Sia. It was like a bob, and it was very sleek and cool. Yeah. And I had like the gloves. I had like the long like fake cigarette. It was rhinestone, of course.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think that was the last time.
No, it's hard because Halloween the past couple of years, at least when I was on the team, it was always on a Thursday or practice night, and it's like
right, you were at practice for ours too.
Like, and there's not going to be any Okay, one more. What's your favorite childhood TV show?
I loved Saved by the Bell.
Yes. Okay.
Or Sister, because they had the best theme songs. And I would like make up routines in the living room. My mom probably thought I was like a crazy crackhead because I would just be like making up my own, like every time it came on, like it had like a new dance to it. So, and I just felt like I didn't really understand a lot of things that were going on in Saved by the Bell because the kids were like in high school. Mm-hmm. But I just thought they were so cool. And I thought also like Sister was like so cool because like I wanted a twin sister so bad. Like I thought that was like
cool. I'm obsessed with twins.
Yeah.
Obsessed with twins.
I liked all those like Boy Meets World was amazing. Full House.
Was Sister the one with the hats too? The crazy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And it would have like the sunflower like dead in the center, it'd be like a jean like hat and like a sunflower in the middle, like had to have it. Like you're like, where can I get that? Does Target sell it? Because we must have it. We must go get it, Mom.
I literally had a black and white freaking plaid one with a red. Ooh wee.
Oh, so good. Like things like that, like Clueless. I live for that stuff. Clueless. Yeah. Also, like we want to watch the Spice Girl movie, like Spice World.
Ooh.
Because we were like, we need to watch that now because there's probably so many things you did now as an adult that you're like, what were we watching? Why was that okay? Not okay.
That'd be good stuff to like. I think nostalgia is really what's going to probably get me through this quarantine is just like looking back on things fondly and just laughing and noticing things that you wouldn't have because you weren't paying attention to.
You wouldn't have the time to do it. And like, that's kind of like how I'm thinking about it. Like there's obviously happening for a reason. Like I was working, I feel like I've been working since I was like 14 or having the same schedule where I'd be like, I'd go to school all day and then go to dance until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, and then have competitions. And once, out of high school, I went straight to dancing professionally and still teaching dance. So I feel like my schedule's been the same and you're kind of always like never sleeping, but you're like, I'm used to it. Like, this is what I do. So like now you're like, do I put an alarm on? No, absolutely not. Like, I'm going to take advantage of it. But I do think that like when everything starts to open up and I have to go back to work, I'm going to need like a 3-day, like let us know. Like, so I can like get back on a normal sleeping schedule. Cause you're just like, well, I guess we can watch one more episode. Like, what do we have to do tomorrow?
Right. No, that's a good point. It's good. We're going to have to kind of like,
I need a heads up.
ease our way into this, like.
Yes, and no one's going to be able to work like 8-hour days. Like we need to start with like a half day and then like, go in.
Baby steps, because it's going to be.
We did on Saturday, we did like 2 workouts, and like we went to the store and we were like, we're exhausted. Like, what are you doing? And like before, like we would take like cycling twice a day and then work full 8 hours and then go teach. Like, it's just, I don't know. People, we have to eat. We need a heads up. You know, let me know before this.
We need at least a week's notice, like really, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. And all of the places need to open up, like the nail places and the hair places too.
In advance, before they're like, show up at work. Yes. No. Well, take good care of yourself, obviously, with this quarantine, and I'm glad that you're not alone, that you have a wonderful, awesome roommate to keep you company and hang out with, and just.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's like been a goal of mine to be on this with you, so.
Oh my gosh. Well, we could have done it a long time ago, but no, thank you. Seriously, Jonni, it's been great talking to you and just sharing and just opening up about just life. Take care, Jonni. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. You can follow your favorite podcast on social media at Pro Cheerleading Podcast on Instagram, at Pro Cheer Podcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can support your favorite podcast on Patreon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sidelines.